All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Write me in the comments. Um, Hi, we have Jian today. Hi, Jian. How are you?
Hi Alex, hi everyone. Nice to be here. Yeah, excited to talk more.
Is this your first stream ever, or have you been on stream before?
It's actually my first Twitch stream ever. I've been on YouTube, but yeah.
Mm, Cool.
Mhm.
All right, so let's give just a couple minutes for people to start joining in, getting comfortable, getting popcorn. And in the meantime, I'm just going to remind everyone that you can follow us on twitch.tv/MuleSoft_community. Or you can also just watch us on LinkedIn if that's what you prefer. That is totally fine. I just prefer Twitch, to be honest. And okay, we're getting people. Hi, Felix. Hello. We're going to talk about AI stuff, Felix, but you might like it because it's CurieTech. Um, I did a video on DataWeave, Gian. I think you saw it, and
Yeah.
I was using Felix's code to like compare with the AI.
Uh-huh.
So he's here now to see if the AI can beat his code. Just kidding.
Mhm.
All right. So I guess we can get started. Can you just give us a little bit of background on what you've been doing and what you do with Curie?
Mhm. Sure. So I'm Jian. I am essentially a member of this company called CurieTech. And what we want to do is build AI agents to help you accelerate your MuleSoft development. Uh, and we have a bunch of AI agents which we'll go over. But the whole goal is that it's very tailored to MuleSoft and it's made so that it helps you in every process, right from development to testing to documentation. And that's a brief kind of overview.
Cool. Yeah. And have you been working on AI before this?
Yeah, that's right. I was in my grad school. I was also doing AI over there. We were building agents. So, yeah, it was a natural continuation.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. And Felix is saying, yes, I saw the YouTube video. It was pretty nice. Yeah. All right. Let's get started then. You can
Uh,
share your screen if you want.
oh, sounds good. Okay. Share my screen. Is this visible?
Yes, I see your screen.
Present it. Okay. So I have some slides just to give a brief overview of what CurieTech does, and then we can dive deep in the product. So yeah, as I said, we are building AI agents at CurieTech to map your entire like MuleSoft development process. Um, and like this is what the process looks like. So you start off by like gathering requirements and developing use cases. Then you have to like design API specifications or some mapping documents. Then comes the main part of actually developing flows based on the specs. So that's the first use case which we are targeting. So this includes developing new flows from scratch and also maintaining existing flows. That's the first thing. Second, I think one of the most important part for integrations is transformations and DataWeave. Um, and we have a couple of agents which help you for your DataWeave transformations. So we could create DataWeave from like sample data or mapping sheets. So that's kind of the second main product feature. Um, the third thing is after you're done with your development, testing is important. So we have some agents which help you automatically write MUnit tests for a particular flow which has been developed. So that's the third like major capability. And finally, after you are done with all of this, you have to like maintain this code. You have to document it. There are a lot of these small things. You want to maintain best practices and security guidelines. You want to review code PRs. So all of this we have clubbed under this one category of creating documentation, reviewing PRs, other practices, and so on. So that's the broad idea. We'll go over each of them. But yeah, and finally, yeah, CurieTech is meant to like complement MuleSoft AnyPoint platform capabilities. So I think now dive deep in the product. So you all of you can still log into like platform.curietech.ai. It's open for all. So this is what the product looks like. And what you see here on the top is some headings, which we talked about. So we help with like coding, testing, documentation, code insights, and each of them have like a bunch of agents over here. So let's start with the first thing. So let's start with like if you want to develop and maintain flows, how would you do that? So we can get introduced to our first agent, which is called as integration generator. You click this. There are a bunch of options. You can either work with this if you don't have a repository. Also, that if you have a repository, you can connect it, and this would ensure that we reuse all the common components you have in the code, like your error handling, some validations, some common data transformations, and everything. And yeah, finally, what do you have to do? Nothing much. There's a description where in natural language you can type like what kind of flow do you want to create. You can potentially upload some flow diagrams also if you have. These are like PNG or JPEG images, and then just click submit. For the task of it, I have some like pre-canned examples, which I ran just a few minutes ago. So we can look at it. This is how the task looks like, right? So let's say I have a requirement. I want a flow that fetches product information from a MySQL database and order information from Salesforce. And it's invoked when HTTP GET request is made to this particular endpoint. You provide some configurations about MySQL and some steps, in the sense like you want to combine both the transformed responses and generate the final response. So you just have to provide this. And what does CurieTech produce? CurieTech produces a whole document, which is first the flow summary, which is just like a 2-3 lines of natural language summary. Then the most crucial part about the implementation. So this is the entire XML implementation. So you can see there are like different configurations over here as well for the connectors. So HTTP, database, Salesforce, and then the actual flow code. And we can look at like whether it's just doing the right thing. It in fact is like it's calling database the products table, and in Salesforce it is calling the order table. And interestingly, it's also very efficient in the sense like the AI realized that you could use a scatter gather, because both of these are independent operations which could be done in parallel. Yeah, you get responses, and finally it is like combining the responses into like particular fields. It implements some error handling. So that's the main like core chunk. This you could just copy paste in your Nippon Studio and just start with that. That's the whole idea. And then we have some extra things about like flow constants, which you show. You can fill these up because these were not provided in the original thing. There are POM dependencies. Again, you can copy paste these in POM. And finally, we have a flag of compilation check. So all of this code is actually tested. So this code compiles, like Neon compiles. And yeah, you can just start with this. So that's the first feature. We have some additional things over here in the sense like if you are not happy with the flow code, then you have a comment bar over here. You can click here and maybe ask it to regenerate with a comment like make the log message more detailed, and click regenerate. And yeah, that's all. You see my comments added over here, and it will create a new version of the flow code. So yeah, so this was the first sub feature which we looked over here, that you want to develop new flows. Let's go into maintenance, right? So let's go back to our home screen. This is where we were. We explored the integration generator. We have a code enhancer agent. This is essentially for a given repo. So if you click over here, you have some repositories. Let's say I want to use a loyalty management API. You can connect your own repositories as well. And now you have to describe a task again, like given this existing repository, what do you want to change? It could be some refactors, some transformation changes, etc. And again, just submit. So you can again go here and look at this pre-canned example. So this is what I had submitted. So I think I was facing this issue of I wanted to add debug logs and the process order flow. And it's a flow in the repository, and I wanted to log if an order is a placed or a cancelled order. And you want to print the value of variables in such cases. And what it will create is a diff. This is just like a GitHub diff that you can review. You can go here. Let's see, what did it do? This is in fact, right, this is the process order flow. And yeah, it seemed it did the right thing. It had a debug log when it's a placed order, and and a debug log when it has a cancelled order. So these are some of the capabilities. We can look at another example over here. So what was the task? So let's say my field changes, right? So I wanted to change the email field in my DataWeave transformation to email_address, and I don't want to kind of go to the code and make manual change. I can just come to this tool, write this particular prompt, and you have this diff which is ready. And from email, we change it to email address in both the payload and the final thing. And just like GitHub, for example, you can add additional comments on this. Like there's a leave a general comment, which will create a new diff. So you can give some like code reviews here. If not, if you are happy, you can just click approve. And what would approve do is create a GitHub PR, which you could review, you could share with your team, you could do a bunch of things with that. So this comes around maintenance. So like you could think of what all tasks can you do here, right? Like connector version upgrades come into this, refactors or like flow enhancements, all of it. So you can click here, and this is what it creates. It creates pull request with some description of what the change is and the actual change.
No way, that is so cool.
Yeah. So you could just think about all the use cases you have in your mind and try this out. Cool. So this was essentially our the first thing which we covered is, again, developing and maintaining flows. So we looked at a couple of agents for that. Let's go back to the next core feature, right? Which is data.
There is a question before you continue. Felix is saying, will our code also be used to train the models? Like, what about data privacy?
No. So all your data is encrypted, and we never use your code to train any sort of models.
Cool. Thank you.
So let's go back. We have DataWeave now. So let's see what agents do we have for DataWeave. So core agent, especially in coding agents, is you see this DataWeave generator. You can click this, and there are a couple of options here. One thing is you can generate DataWeave from input-output examples, or you could generate DataWeave from a mapping table. And we can have a look at both of these. Input-output examples, you just have to choose the input format, which are a bunch of things which you support, and also in EDI format. We can take a look at an example. You paste your sample input-output data that you want to transform. You can add additional inputs over here. Like, for example, if you have additional inputs, which makes the transformation tool much more clearer, as opposed to just a single example, you could use that. And finally, we have an additional notes option here, where you could add any particular prompt. Like if you want a particular instructions, say that I want my data to be this efficient, or it should particularly use this particular function. All of those notes can be added here. So again, we have some example here. Let's see. So this is what I had created. So I had a sample input data, which is this JSON. It's over here, and I want to transform this into an XML output. And this is what the XML output. I need not think to provide any notes or something. So this is what I provided. And what it will create you is this DataWeave. I don't know if this is correct or not, so maybe we can test it. We go here, I copy this, we go in our playground, do this, let's see.
You know what? It would be cool to have a button to say like, try this in the DataWeave playground, and just to like open it directly.
Yeah, nice idea. I think that would be useful. I paste this, and this in fact is right. It does what it is intended to do without any error in the first time. So that's this particular feature. What we also support here is comments. So as you see, as you hover here, there are comments here. And let's say if you're not happy with this DataWeave, you want like make this more efficient using some custom function, like, and you could do that as well, and just regenerate, and this will create the next version of DataWeave. So you can just keep on doing that. Everything in natural language, you can keep on talking to it. Another thing which I tried here was an EDI example, actually. So this is some EDI data which I had pasted, and that had to be converted into some list of JSON objects. And this, EDI, and you have to mention, of course, the EDI transaction version and the transaction type. And yeah, you have this DataWeave which is all ready to go. I mean, you can look at these comments. Like, we give an explicit comment that it's generated and verified for the provided input output examples. So the correctness and accuracy will be extremely high. Yeah. So this was for the first version for DataWeave. We have another one for uploading mapping tables as well. So we can again have a look here. So I uploaded this mapping sheet. It's an Excel file. You can download this. This is what the file looks like. So you have some source, target data, and and you have some rules about what the transformation is. Things like it should always be agency, publisher, and things like those. So all you have to do that. And what we create is the source data for this mapping sheet. So what kind of data would come in the transformation? What is the output data? And final data view code as well. So all of these also you can test again. So here, this, you can paste the input data, and yeah, all good. So these are a couple of features which will help you create data view transformations. So yeah, going back, we covered 2 of these main core features. Let's say now you are done with your development, right? Your flows are ready, your transformations are ready. You want to write tests, and we have something to help you over there as well.
This is the one that Felix and I have been trying to see, because Felix was asking me about the MUnits too, so that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So we finished our coding agents. We have our testing agent over here. So let's say I click on I want to generate MUnits. What you have to do is choose your repository. You'll have to provide your VM args, whatever you run to use to run your Mule application, which could be your environment variables and things like those. You can also scroll the number of MUnit scenarios you want to create. By default, it's 1, but you can just have a slider which does 1 to 3 depending on how many cases you want to cover. Then you obviously have to select the flow. So we generate unit test flow by flow. So let's say it's post members flow, and maybe I want to generate 2 unit tests. I want to enable coverage as well, a coverage report, and some additional nodes. So if you're very, very particular about what kind of mocks do you want to do, or some edge cases you want to test, you can also provide it in the nodes. In this case, I really don't mind, so I can just go and click submit. And what does it do? We can look over here. So this is the task which I had submitted earlier. This is for some get members endpoint. So first it creates the scenarios. You can look at the scenarios, and it created 2 of those because I asked it to. And the first thing is that just test the successful execution, assuming everything is valid, happy path. And second, it tests when the HTTP request in the reference flow fails because of a non-retriable error. It is also verifying some error handling logic. So it created the scenario, and finally it creates a pull request. So just like code and answer, the same thing. You open a PR, it describes the coverage of all the tests in the project, and you can look at the files changed. This is the MUnit test file which we have created. All of this. This is for the 2 scenarios, and also we create mock data, which is used by the test. We read the flow code, understand what transformations are happening, and what kind of data do we want to mock. All of this is ready to go. You can just check out this branch, run the test locally just to verify it will run, and you can just check it in. So Now creating MUnits is just a matter of like few clicks. Yeah. And we have some additional thing which you can use, like this is for creating sample data. So you can have a DataWeave here, and you want to create like different scenarios of what kind of data and outputs it will be. You can use this agent as well. So this is also some like mini agent which will help you in like some testing or like some local development kind of thing. Cool. Yeah. So this is what we had, the three main things. And now let's go with the final thing. We have a bunch of things to cover over there as well. So you have documentation and question answering and things like those. So all these come under the category of like documentation and code insight agents. Yeah, and we could go maybe like let's start with coding insights, right? We have like you can see three tabs over here. What single repo code lens? You can essentially ask any question about a particular repository. So let's say I click loyalty management API. I ask a question, and I don't know anything about the project, so maybe I can ask which all APIs are there in the project. And yeah, it came up with something which seems right. So the post orders, there's a get members and so on. There are some with URI params as well. Okay, let's see. I really want to know more about this, so I can give me more details about the endpoint. So yeah, this is a main overview. So this endpoint retrieves like voucher details from a specific member. Okay, let this finish. So yeah, it retrieves voucher details for a specific member, identifies the membership number, it extracts the membership number, it logs the request, it calls the subflow, and it figures out that what's the logic for this subflow as well. So get vouchers flow, it uses an until successful block, it makes a get call to this particular Salesforce API. This error handling. It also points to like RAML, which you could look. This is just opens up on GitHub. So this is the RAML for this membership vouchers, which you're looking at. There's a response, and yeah, even testing. So you can essentially ask any question if you don't understand the code base or want some more insights, more help. Like you could ask like, which all backend systems does this project connect to? Just to understand like the overall data flow. And yeah, while this is working, we can maybe start one more task over here. We can go to repo code lens. Let's go here. There are some other questions as well. Maybe I want to try what are some best practice violations in get members. Yeah, get members membership flow. And this will essentially, yeah. Okay, it asks me to please specify the flow again. It does specify. That's it. Okay. So what does it do? Yeah. The first thing is it found some logging issues. We're doing some redundant logging. Okay, let this also finish everything. Mhm. Okay. So it came up with a bunch of things. For logging, it says that you want to use debug logging for like tracing, like the actual requests and responses and not info level. And you want to also ensure that the sensitive data is never logged. Because I think it turns out that in this flow we log the entire payload. So that's what it is flagging here. You want some consistent error handling. So yeah, it recommends to add a global or a flow level like error handler in the main API flow, and reference it in the existing like global error handler which exists in the project. There are some things about like variable usage or naming. You have some configuration practices. Yeah, like if you are using a password, you should use a secure password. I don't think this project is using it, so it's suggested to use that. For DataWeave, said that there's no major issues over here. Same for like MUnits, everything looks fine. And yeah, the same thing could be for security as well. Or if you are stuck in some like debugging loop, you want to troubleshoot, this is the agent for you. By the way, for best practices, one more feature I would like to point out is here. If you go here, there's a workspace, and you could upload your coding guidelines in this particular area. You can just upload a PDF of what all coding guidelines, best practices you want to follow for your use case, and all our agents essentially will take this into account. So if you you can look at like the code and answer agents or this question answering agents. It will identify what best practices are based on what you upload. So yeah, this was the first thing in coding insights. Multi-repo code lens is essentially an extension of it, that you could ask these questions to multiple repositories, not just one. So let's say I want a main branch and I want all these 3 repositories. I can select multiple of them. I can ask a question. Things like
There's a question in the chat. Does this AI follow API-led architecture or just develops a single API for a whole use case?
It depends on how do you want to use it. Right now, it's like you will have to break it manually, architect it, and then it will create like singular flows.
Okay.
That's how it is, yeah. All the projects. And yeah, so this particular use case could be very useful for, again, like things where you have repositories with them, which are interdependent to each other, like experience, process, system APIs, and you want to ask questions across those, that how is data flowing, what is calling which. Multi-repo code lens is the a useful agent for you. Yeah, so it started something. So in the bidding process API, we have these endpoints. Loyalty is what we actually just saw, and loyalty MuleSoft is also, I think, the same project. So yeah, all of these are REST APIs, and also, and you can just click on these, go to the corresponding GitHub, and look at the code as well. So this was the year, and finally, the third thing we have in our coding insights is code reviews. So if you have a pull request which some developer or even Curie has created, you can pass it through the code review agent. Here you choose the repository as usual, and there's an edit guidelines here. So what we have is some pre-filled guidelines about what does good look like. There should be like no hard-coded passwords, blah, blah, blah. Sensitive information should be secure. Comment if a new feature would break some existing functionality, and so on. There's something for DataWeave as well. Yeah. So we have a bunch of rules over here. The good part is these rules are editable. So again, based on what you care about, you can write more rules about how to review PRs. Save it, and then you go here and ask a question. And this also opens up a screen like this. What we could do is let's get some pull request, right? So let's see this. Add hello logger. Okay. and I copy paste this. This is a very simple pull request, but let's try. Review this PR for me. I just paste the link. Okay. This takes a bit of time because it's like analyzing the entire repository to figure out what feature could break. And yeah, here it is. So yeah, it was a very simple PR, but it came up with a summary first that what this PR does. It adds a hello world like info log to this particular flow. Yeah, and essentially what review, there's nothing much to review as such. But yeah, it says that the PR title was incorrect, interestingly, because the PR title said that add hello world to all loggers, but we like do it only to one flow. So it's like either update the PR title or change. So that's funny. Yeah, it also like said that the added logger does not follow the existing logging convention in the code base. Like this is a very informal thing, and you ideally do not want to log just hello world. So yeah, but you get the idea of the use for this. So great. We've created, done a bunch of these kind of question answer, like answering like insights kind of agents. And now finally, I think last but not the least, you can go to documentation. So we have, again, you can see like 4 agents over here, a bunch of them. We can start with the most major one, which is a documentation generator. So what this does, we can create entire documentation flow by flow. So copy, and I have a drop down of what flows I have. Let's say I want to do it for this bidding ID. While this is working, we can look at some again previously done example. So yeah, this is again our flow which we had just explored, the membership ID, membership number, and this is the entire document that we create. You could just export this into like docx, Markdown, some file types that are useful. We first create a sequence diagram of what's the logical flow. So this is a client application, then the actual API, and the backend is Salesforce, which it interacts with. Yeah, you extract authentication token, you transform request attributes, and then you make a GET request to this particular Salesforce endpoint. It returns you the voucher data, and then you just return the response. It's very simple flow in that sense. Then what else do you have in documentation? You have a high-level summary of what this flow does, then flow diagram, then schema input-output examples. So these are some schemas we have. So this is the input schema, and this is an output example, what it looks like. So it gives a voucher count, and after the count, it has like 3 vouchers. So, yeah. And then we have like very detailed steps about what all does the flow do. So the triggers, the source and target systems, authentication, data flow, error handling, mapping tables, unit tests as well, as in like what all scenarios are tested for this flow if the unit test exists. Login, like essentially you can trace back every log which would come when you execute this flow, and security, like what all would done. So yeah, this is what the first feature is. You could just export this or like make edits as and when you like. This is another thing which you had created, which you just submitted a task. It took like a minute or so to finish all of it. And yeah, it's the same structure. You start with the sequence diagram. You have your input output examples, detailed steps. In this case, it's very detailed in the sense like for every error code, what all messages response object is inside. Mapping sheets, constants in the thing as well. To figure out like what all constants are there based on your different variables, different environments as well. So yeah, this is kind of the first thing. Second, we can go to like diagram generator. What diagram generator is again for a particular thing, you can generate either a sequence or a flow diagram. And let's say I want to generate some sequence diagram for building and I submit it. Also, we have something here. This is again a part of what we had done previously. So for post members, this is what the diagram looks like. Sounds fine. Let's say you are not happy. There's again an option of providing feedback. I can provide feedback like give me more details. Give me more details. Especially for error handling and degenerate. The best part about this tool is you do not have to wait for a task to finish. While this is running, you can just go to other tasks on the left panel. You can go to home, start a new task. So you could literally do all of these things in parallel. Yeah, and this created this particular sequence diagram. If you want, we can try something for the flow diagram as well. Flow diagram, maybe. I can use the sequence point and let's say post orders and submit it. Okay. Meanwhile, yeah, you can look at some previously run tasks. This is what I had provided as a feedback, and I wanted some more details. So, yeah, indeed, it provided a lot of details. We had the original logic, and then a lot of details about error handling, which I'd asked for. So, different, again, HTTP response codes, error codes, and what do we send? Yeah. If you're still not happy, there's more comments. You can just keep on doing this till you get a sequence diagram for your needs. Yeah, this is an example of flow diagram. It's like much more detailed in the sense, but it shows like the actual data flow. So you have a listener, you validate the request. If it's valid, you publish to queue. Is message order queue. And if the request is not valid, you just generate the error response. And yeah. So this was a logical thing. Yeah. Sounds. Yeah, we covered the documentation generator, diagram generator as well. The third feature is this domain diagram generator. What this essentially helps is this takes in again multiple repos. So this is a feature which takes in multiple repos. So 3, and you submit it. And what this will create is a domain diagram for all the repos in the sense like how do APIs interact with each other. So again, this is very much useful for like visualizing overall on a high level what the architecture looks like. Like these are the end systems that we are interfacing with, and how do APIs like talk to them? What kind of data flows? So yeah, it's that particular feature. I don't think this will show anything interesting because all these repos that I've used here are kind of independent, so that's not interesting as such. But if you again have repositories which depend on each other, this would be helpful. Yeah. And finally, we have like some thing to generate mapping tables. So let's say you have some DataWeave and you have a project and you want to generate some mapping sheet for this. Like once you've developed the DataWeave or you've updated it, you can just click submit here. And yeah, this creates just some Markdown mapping table, which is again the source field, whether it's mandatory or not, what the target field is, and what the rules are. So it kind of from the data we infer that the rule should be that for each item in payloads item array, the item ID is mapped to the corresponding field. Same thing for like the total cost. So yeah, this is what we have. And going back, yep. So essentially, just kind of going through each another thing. We started off with like coding agents. We go on the platform. There are a bunch of coding agents here. There's testing, which is for MUnits. Then there's coding insights, which we looked at, which were these question answering kind of agents. And then finally, you have some agents for like documenting different things, like seeing diagrams or actual documentations as well. So these were, I would say, the like main capabilities of the product of Query right now. I could walk you through other parts of the product as well. Like if you want to use this, there are a bunch of things over here. Like how do you connect your repos? You can go into repositories. There are a bunch of things.
Before you continue, I think you already answered this, but once again, Prashant is asking, will the AI store the backend data after sending the response back?
Will the AI what start?
The AI store the backend data after sending the response back?
No, we don't. So that's again what I am going here. So essentially, you can look at my GitHub is connected, and you have some indexes. So all of these are connections. You can always click suspend, and that will just wipe off all the data. That's right. And if you don't want to connect GitHub, right, we have some other options as well. Like for almost all agents, we have an option of upload from PC, and you can just drag and drop a folder you have over here, and that will populate it, and you can do the same task again. And here, like the repo is used only for this particular request, and then it is thrown away. So, but yeah, great question. I think I can tell you like what all options do we have to connect the repos for your projects. So the first thing was you can either just upload from your computer once for this task. So that's the first option. Second thing is you could go into this settings panel. You could look at repositories. You could either connect GitHub or GitLab, which is what I was using for my things. Like things like PRs and things like those require connections to GitHub. But there is also an option of local repos. So you can just like locate on your device the same way. And once you configure that repository, it will show up in indexes. Like you see GitHub, there will be another tab for local indexes. And you could start using that as well. So right now there are a variety of modes through which you can get started. But yeah, like whatever repositories you use, there are some things like, for example, if you look in the indexes, right, what's useful for the best use of our agents is you set up correct runtime settings. So again, like these are what Java and Maven versions you use for this project. Any VM arguments which you need to run the application. And if you have some like custom things, like you have to upload your settings XML as well, so that like all these things work. Like if you have some custom logger that you are using, so all of that is supported as long as you upload your like settings XML. But yeah, I think that's the broad, I would say, overview of the product. Yeah, Alex, any questions?
I have a question. I don't think you have an agent to generate the API spec, right?
We don't have it yet exposed in the product, but we have something coming out soon for API spec.
Nice. Okay. Because like I know a lot of people use ChatGPT to generate it, but they tell me that it's not really good. So it would be nice to have it here.
Definitely noted.
Cool. I love that it creates a pull request for you automatically. That's really cool. I like that. Yeah. Are there any more questions from the audience? Let's wait a little bit. Jian, what's your favorite agent?
Okay, a hard question. I think it's all, but I particularly like, maybe I would say, MUnits and code enhancer.
Hmm.
MUnits particularly because it's very, very easy to use. You just have to choose the flow name and that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And all the PR we create, you can just merge in, that unit test would work. And code enhancer because it is very, very flexible, right? You could do a bunch of things over here. Like, I don't know, maybe we can try something like upgrade connector versions, upgrade HTTP connector version to, I don't know, 1.9.2. That's probably the latest things. Yeah. And that's all. And you need not worry about it. You can just go have a coffee and come back later on.
Does it actually check for the dependency versions when it's creating HTTPs? I don't know, like the dependencies or stuff like that.
It does. So essentially, all the other things which will be changed because of this version upgrade in the code, for example, change those things as well.
Okay. And it supports Java 17 and Java 11 and Java 8, I guess?
Yes, that's right. I mean, these are just like broad versions, right? I mean, you could, yeah. So we have just indicated the main versions. I mean, if you think your project has like minor versions as well, which affect a lot, then yeah, just tell us. Same with Maven.
What about the Mule runtime version?
Right. I think Mule runtime we take it from a project. So I think it's there in the POM itself, right? So you need not specify that. We just have a bunch of like Mule runtime versions at our end, and we use the one which your project is using. So we infer from that.
But when you create a new code, like what Mule runtime versions does it use?
I see. When we create a new code, in a sense, like without any repository, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think by default it's 4.4, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And can you tell it to, like, for example, if you have 4.4 and you want to update to the latest, which is 4.9, I think, is there any way to do it here?
You could try code enhancer again. Like you could go here, like if you have a project already, and you could try out a task like, I want to change my Mule runtime version to so and so, make other edits. So you can try out. I'm not sure how it will work, but that's definitely interesting to see.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then for best practices, like, because I saw that you can upload the PDF. Let's say that I created a project and it's in GitHub that has no best practices, but then I upload the PDF here. I would just use the code enhancer to tell it to apply the best practices.
Yes. So you could do two things, right? One thing is you want to leave everything to the code enhancer, or you could follow a recipe. So what I would recommend is go to single repo code lets first, and try to enhance like a flow by flow. That would lead the best like results. In the sense, like for this particular flow, you find out what the violations of the best practices are, and just copy paste that answer into code enhancer as the prompt. So
what if I want, for example, to extract the properties and create the global file, the global configuration file?
Yeah, the same thing. Code enhancer is the task for that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. This is really cool. I think a lot of people from the community are definitely going to be trying this out.
Yeah.
You might be receiving like a lot of questions.
Yeah, definitely. So again, like some plugins, it's like platform.CurieTech.ai. You could just like sign up onto this, or we also have our webpage. This is our public-facing webpage, CurieTech.ai. You can go here, look at our blogs. We have some like resources into like how to get started. All these agents which we go like went over. There's a product tour which you can just click through and like understand the capabilities even more. And then there's the option of sign up for free. You can just do that, and that will point you to this particular product. I'm already logged in, but you will see a sign up page. Yeah, you can get started.
Cool. All right, this is really cool. Oh, and is there any way that some people can request feedback or like send it somewhere so you can see it?
I see. Yeah, I think for now we could use this email per se. So we have this email called info@CurieTech.ai.
Okay,
Just email us for any feature request, bugs, whatever you find.
perfect. All right, I think that's all from my side. I don't see any questions in the chat. Everyone's saying that it's all good. I'm sure they will have questions when they start trying it out.
Yeah. Try it out. Let us also know what your favorite agent is. What did you like the most, Alex?
DataWeave. 100%.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, this is some task which we had created. Yeah, updated the version, which all looks good. And I'm just happy to approve this. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely like it more now that I know that it supports like GitHub repos, because I thought that you had to just like upload and download and keep doing that. That's a lot of work. But with the repo and the PR, that's perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So again, for everyone watching, you can just go to CurieTech.ai and you can sign up for free. And you can send all of your questions to info@CurieTech.ai. And that's it. I think I will be trying this out soon. So I'm also going to send questions.
Super happy for feedback.
All right. Okay. So that was it for today. For everyone watching, remember to follow us on twitch.tv/MuleSoft_community so you can see all of our previous recordings, our schedule in your local time zone. You will receive notifications as soon as we are live, and the chat is better than LinkedIn, in my opinion, but to each their own. Okay. And I will see you all next week on Thursday, same time. And I don't know what topic it is, so I will just see you. Thank you, Jian.
Thanks, Alex. See you all.
Bye.